Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode. We're popular of Witches and Wine. Are you guys tired of us yet? This is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine, clink and drink,
Clink
and
drink.
clink and drink to our guests. Awesome, and take a nice sip. It's like a drinking game. Every time we say clink and drink, you got to take a drink. So you never know how this will turn out. My name is Lola Stardust. I am your hostess with the mostest. And my partner in crime over here is
Silent as Stardust.
And he is the host with the most. And before we get started, we like to do our little disclaimer. So it has been brought to our attention in the past that sometimes people don't want to hear about witchcraft while witches are drinking wine. That is not how they like to get their information. They have been like, I don't like it. And so we're like, you know what? We have a wonderful solution for you. There is an X in the corner of your screen, and you can click that X and we'll disappear.
You've got power and control.
It's magic. It's magic. So yeah, that's our suggestion. And for those of you that don't click the X, welcome to the dark side. So before we get started, and I'm so excited about this guest. I am just like beaming with like so many questions and all the things. I'm going to turn it over to Silenus, and he's going to tell us about the wine that we're drinking tonight.
It's over for you.
Why, thank you.
So tonight I have chosen a red blend from California out of the Napa Valley, made by Courtney Benham. It's their Lucca Red line. This is a blend of, it's a Meritage style blend. So Cab, Merlot, little Cab Franc. Elegant, slightly dry, nice plum notes, a little bit of spice. I'm going to run you $20, $25 a bottle. So great, good, not great, not expensive, but high quality.
But really good. It's really good for
very,
20
very
bucks.
Yeah, really good representation of a Napa profile.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to go really nicely with anything off of the grill, anything with the char, or a nice big Sunday roast.
A nice Sunday roast.
Nice
I like
Sunday
that.
roast. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And it's very, very good for a $20 bottle.
Yeah.
You can't go. I mean, it's really good. I'm enjoying it very much.
Excellent.
Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
All right, so let us welcome our guest. We have been working with Triple Butterflies, who run the Summer Magick Fest in Orlando, and we're promoting their guests. And this is going to be one of their guest speakers at the festival, and we will talk about the festival as well. I want everyone to welcome Stacey Williams-Ng. Welcome.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely. And you're drinking wine as well. Do you want to tell us about your wine?
Mine is fancier than yours because mine costs $20.99.
Oh, dang, you put us to shame.
Oh, geez.
But you know what? I'll hang out with you anyway.
Thanks.
It is an Argentinian wine. And it is called Gaia, which I thought was kind of on theme. So I'm an artist and I do judge wine by the labels. I liked the watercolor. But it is also a red blend. It's a Mendoza blend. And it's got like this very fruity kind of flavor to it. Very dry, not sweet, but it's kind of like a blueberries and grapey kind of.
Yeah, and we were talking in the green room before we went live, and you said it goes well with, what did you say what it would go well with? Oh, you were saying it goes. Yeah, you handled that. You said it goes well with.
Well, I just read the label, but it says like with cheese and with chocolate, and of course with red meat.
Yeah,
which is, red wine, classic combos.
Yeah, which hey, cheese and wine, chocolate and wine, red meat and wine. Sign me up.
Never the wrong answer. Yeah,
never the wrong answer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited to be talking to you. So, Stacey, I would love to hear. I like to call it the origin stories. I would like to hear about when did you know that you were of this?
When did you find the path?
Yeah, when did you find the path? That's a different question because when did you know that you were witchy and magical? Like, how did this all start?
I'm glad you asked it that way because I still tend to use adjectives and not nouns. Like I'm witchy, I'm magical.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To just sit here in the Bible Belt and say in front of all my family and friends that I am is I'm not quite, am I quite there? I don't know. Maybe not on the internet. Yeah.
Well, we don't have a lot. I mean, you know, unless they like to watch witches drink wine, I don't think them are watching. So
my Uncle Curtis is probably not tuning in. You're probably right. But and yes, he does exist. He's in Mississippi.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. But I mean, the actual path has been long and windy. I grew up Southern Baptist. So I was in like Bible drill. I was in fake Girl Scouts because the real Girl Scouts were too worldly. So.
Oh, what is fake Girl Scouts? What is that?
It was called Girls in Action, and the Girls in Action made Christmas ornaments and loved the baby Jesus. There was a lot of that.
Girls in Action, GIA. Is that, was he like?
Yes.
Yeah.
GAs. The GAs. We had like these cheap polyester uniforms. It was adorable. It was really.
I love it.
That's when I knew that might not be my path, I guess is what I'm saying. It started early. So no, but I mean, I have been an art kid my whole life. And so making art is my magic. That is how I have been literally manifesting things into the world as long as I can remember. It's how that has always been my religion, so to speak. Yeah. It was a religious practice for me. It always has been. And then, you know, slowly, just because I love history and I love different cultures and so on, and I've lived overseas in several different places. And it's like, the more I got exposed to other, you know, cultures, religion, beliefs, demigods, I mean, it was just like one thing after another, and I couldn't get enough of it. So world religion is basically what brought me to it, more so than being a Southerner. I think I needed to be a displaced Southerner in order to understand the big wide world of spirituality. And I'm really happy for that.
Well, I've been to Tennessee a few years ago, like 7 years ago. Oh God, who knows time, before pandemic. Let's just pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. So pre-pandemic, I did actually go visit friends in Tennessee, and I noticed that there literally is a church on every corner.
Every corner.
Like, I thought that was a joke.
No, ma'am.
And I saw we were driving, and I'm going, oh my, there really is a church on every corner. So that's why I like Southern Witches. I like to hear your story of how you maybe had to hide it, or were able to practice it.
Or still hiding it.
The thing is, where do I begin? So I'm a deck maker, which is why I'm lucky enough to be on this show tonight. And we will be talking about my deck. But for those of you who don't know, it's called the Southern Gothic Oracle, because just the phrase Southern Gothic is what I wanted to bring up apropos to this discussion. The whole idea of the Southern Gothic literary genre is about, you know, this veneer of gentility, this veneer of virtue. And then beneath that veneer, you know, is the ugliest thing you can imagine. So it's, you know, rot and violence and brutality and decay and cruelty and obviously racism, which is like wraps all of those things up, the reason for all of those things. And so that's what that genre is defined by. So people can't put a finger on why it's such a compelling genre for movies and books, but really it's because that's a winning combination in terms of drama. Not so fun in terms of real life. But in terms of drama in a haunted house type book, it works every time.
I mean, when I think of the South and that Southern Gothic, I think of, you know what I think of, as that movie with Kevin Spacey in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Sure.
John
that was in Savannah. That took place in Savannah.
But
Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
I think of that aesthetic, and I think of that genteel kind of, you know, but they always talk about their granddaddy twice removed, or, you know, from the past that did this, and the ghost still kind of haunts them, and, you know, or whatever. I love that whole like feeling.
Well, the South is a very liminal place. I mean, the ghosts, I mean, we can talk about the Baptists and the Methodists and the Episcopalians all we want, but at the end of the day, all of them believe in ghosts. All of them have ghost stories and commune with the spirits, and it's just a pervasive part of culture down here. And it gets even worse, even deeper, even richer when you're in places like Clarksdale, Mississippi, or or of course, New Orleans, obviously New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
Memphis, these cities that have, and Savannah, these cities that have Birmingham, clung to their history and like still talk about it and think about it. I really feel that keeps the spirits around. And the more people talk about the spirits and have these ghost tours and entertain the possibility that they are real, the more the spirits stick around. They know that they're welcome, you know?
They're providing energy so the spirits can manifest by picking up on that energy.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you, like, we talk about, just our house here, when we, we do ritual and welcome, we cast our circle and we welcome stuff. This is a hotbed for spirits to travel through, of which we get a lot of that because we see it. So a whole city that or a whole region that celebrates that's going to be a hot spot.
Yeah.
Right?
Have y'all been to New Orleans?
No.
Oh, come on.
I know.
So when you're walking around New Orleans, you will see real estate signs in the quarter and elsewhere. But it's really funny because it'll show the real estate sign and then it'll have those little hanging hooks. And then under it is like a little flag. And it says haunted or not haunted. And they're not joking. That's actually part of real estate listings in New Orleans.
Really? Oh my gosh.
It'll be like room for rent, haunted.
Yeah. Haunted.
And then when you inquire, they'll explain how that affects the price and they'll tell you what they know about the spirit that lives there. And you might still choose to live there. They'll be like, can you handle it? Because it definitely is haunted.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. I love
it. It is
that.
amazing.
I look at this as a house enhancement. Like this
haunted. Haunted is a feature. That's a plus for us.
Yeah. For some people it is. It's like they say in other places, a swimming pool. It's neither a positive nor a negative. It's just, whether you want a swimming pool or not.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want a ghost or not?
Do you want Herman or not? Because he lives in the back room.
Yeah, exactly. I see that's the kind of stuff I love. I love that kind of stuff. So growing up in that, I mean, even though it was very I'm sorry, you said you were Baptist, Southern Baptist. There's still, which I find interesting, that they're so like, everything else is devil worship or whatever. But I think it's funny that the South is so rich in history of ghost stories and rural practices. It's very much known for, you've got your swamp witches, you've got your Appalachian witches, you've got, and that's what, like
Ozark, which are my people. My people are
Ozark.
Yeah, that fascinates us up here. We're in the Northwest.
We're in the Pacific Northwest, which is a whole another kind of magical place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean we've got beautiful things up here and haunted things and that. But I love hearing, because I know so many Southern witches, and when I first started reaching out across the internet through my education and through the show and whatnot, I met so many. We're in the South. Oh, you're in the South, and I was like, that's so weird to me. And then more people. I'm a witch in the South, and I'm like, what is going on in the South? But now it doesn't. When I hear that you're a witch and you live in the South, I'm like, yeah, I mean, why not? Like that. It's to be.
Pre-internet, we were keeping that pretty hard on the DL. It's always been a thing. You might want to pick up one of Tony Kail's books, Kail. He's an anthropologist. He's not a practicing witch himself, but his specialty is hoodoo, root work. He's amazing. And his books, there are 2, and I think there's a 3rd one in the works, are just such a wonderful, just like completely objective historic record of root work in the South. And he's got all kinds of, he's actually opening, Memphis used to be called Mojo City, like in a negative way, because mojo is another term that used to be like a slang for hoodoo. And so people think about like Jim Morrison, say, got your mojo working, but that's actually, mojo is a hoodoo term. Mojo bags were basically like amulets. They still are. They're hoodoo shops here. I actually read tarot at a hoodoo shop here in Memphis called Ebo, which is a Nigerian word for spiritual gift.
Oh, wow.
And Ebo is like the OG spiritual store here in Memphis, although it only dates back to the 90s. but it is the longest continuously operating one. The only other one was A. Schwab, which is so fascinating because it's from the 1890s. And you can still go in there and tour it. And that's why I thought of it, because Tony is opening a hoodoo museum in the back of the old A. Schwab's. Yeah.
We need to take a trip to the South and see all y'all.
Oh yeah, I have a long list. I'll take you to all of the things.
Oh my gosh. Well, clink and drink to the Mojo in the South, because that just makes me very excited.
Because we have friends in Louisiana, in Tennessee, in Arkansas,
and Florida. Yeah.
We have, and they're always like, come down and visit us. Come down and visit.
I know. We need to. We need to.
Absolutely.
We need to make connections. I mean, we'd be welcome with open arms. So we got to make it happen. Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk also about, you were talking, earlier, you're an artiste, you're an artist. And I love that. When did you start? Like, how did that start? Like, were you just born like able to paint and draw and all that?
Okay, so I have feelings about that question, because people are always like, "You're so talented," and that has pissed me off ever since I was little. Well, okay, so it's a compliment, and I understand it's a compliment, but the whole idea of being born with it, to me, just kind of discounts all the hard work. You know what I mean?
Oh.
No, I don't mean you're insulting me. I'm just saying,
no. I don't get offended. You'll figure this out real quick.
People will come up on you. Like, okay, so one of the things I like to do, one of my nerdy pastimes, because of which there are many, is
we love that.
Chalk art. So like, if you've ever been to a festival where this is huge in California, so you have to have seen this.
Yeah.
Especially Northern California. There are like chalk artists who'll do these like 20-foot drawings, and it'll be like a reproduction of Caravaggio or something like that.
Yes.
So that's me. I do those.
That's awesome.
And I'll be at one of these festivals, which is one of the best places for you to just interact with normies, because they're just there for the beer, and the band. And then they show up, and you're doing this huge esoteric piece about, witches or whatever. And first of all, they've never seen anything like that in their goddamn lives. Second of all, they've never met an artist before, and they're drunk. So they're just like, wow, whoa. And the first thing out of their mouth is, I wish I could draw like that.
Yes.
And then I always like to turn to them and go, do you? And then they get unnerved by me. And then they're like, yeah. And then I'm like, did you practice today? Did you draw anything today? And then they're like, oh, well, I mean, I haven't drawn anything since I was probably in 6th grade. It's usually the typical response. And then I'm like, well, then you don't want to draw like me. Period.
Yeah.
Because yes. And I surround myself with a lot of artists that work very, very hard. And you're absolutely right. And I have
been playing scales,
Yeah. And I've been told, because I don't, you know what? You just gave me an epiphany, and I want to thank you for this.
Oh, what?
I have always said, I wish I could draw. I wish I could paint. But actually, I don't think I do wish, because if I did, I would freaking do it, because I am a creative person, and maybe I like to look at other people's stuff and I appreciate it, but I have other creative things.
Yep.
Exactly.
You've refocused, because I always feel like I have to explain myself to people. They're like, you're a creative person. Just pick up a paintbrush. And then when I think of that, I'm like, I don't want to.
I mean, I can't sing. I can't play an instrument. I couldn't play a triangle if you put it in my hand. Do you understand me? Like, we all have to pick a thing or two.
Yes.
Or 3, but not everything.
You don't have to be good at everything. And you know what? I'm 51 years old, and you just helped me realize.
Me too.
Twinsies, clink and drink.
Clink and drink
to be
51. Area 51, babies.
You almost made wine come out of my nose there.
I just drink to not being 51.
Oh yeah, he's younger. I robbed the cradle. I know.
Nice job, Lola.
43. He's still in his 40s. Isn't that cute? Oh, we got a cat coming to visit us. But no, when you said that really made me go, oh my God, you're right. Like, if I really wanted to draw that way or paint that way, I would be practicing and putting in the work. every day,
Right.
and I just don't want to, and that's okay.
But we have a son who does, who's very artistically inclined.
Oh, awesome.
Neither
Yeah.
of us are, and he's constantly drawing, and so
And
it's
we
like,
love that, and we love creativity in all forms. So thank
That's
you so much.
fantastic.
Thank you so much for pointing that out, because it now I don't have to feel like I have to explain myself. It's like it's just something that I focus on other things, and that's okay. I don't
And
have,
that's okay. Exactly.
I
Exactly.
love that. I love that. Thank you for having,
But yeah,
enlightening me.
it did start early, to answer your question. I mean,
Yeah.
it
I
was
bet.
drawing on the walls as a 3-year-old all the way to this. It was a straight line from that to tonight.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. So let's talk about how you worked that artwork into your craft and into being the witchy magical being that you are.
your livelihood, all of it.
Yeah, the Southern Gothic Oracle, which when I heard about this, I was like, okay, why do I not know about this? So one, I do have your website here, and I'm assuming
I have the Southern Gothic Oracle right in front of me.
and yeah, show that, but we've got the Southern gothicOracle.com. I am assuming
Yes.
you can find it there as well.
Absolutely.
How did this come to be? And show us some beautiful pictures of that.
So
Oh yeah.
they're all, wait,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's backwards. I know. It's hard to.
it's like, how
The
do I?
shoes. Okay. Oh
This
my.
is like the equivalent of the lover's card. And this is a hoodoo reference, actually, because it's called, in hoodoo, it's called foot track magic.
Okay.
And it's magic that you do with people's shoes. So it's like coupling. That's why it's the number 2 card. It's all connected to numerology as well. But anyway, so this is a little bit like a lover's card, if you will, or a 2 of cups. The shoes, the salamander.
Yeah.
Just, different aspects of Southern life. Blackberries, raccoon.
Oh my gosh.
Dogwood.
So guess what I'm ordering?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Thank you.
How did this come to be for you?
So I am an illustrator, right? Before I did this, I've been a children's book illustrator. I've illustrated record albums. I illustrated Barbie for an app once. Like I'm a professional illustrator. And I used to be a graphic design professor. Not professor. I was an instructor. I never made tenure. But college level instructor. And so being an illustrator was already, that was a thing. It was never in the esoteric, realm. It was just completely mainstream stuff. So COVID hit, we're all locked in our houses. And I was starting to, I already knew how to read tarot for friends and family, very much in the closet, but I knew about it, knew the history of tarot, had read a million books on it. Just knew it kind of from an intellectual standpoint, but not a practitioner standpoint. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start collecting these things. I only have 2 decks, and I want to, like, people collect these. I'm going to go on Kickstarter. I'm going to collect some. So I bought a couple decks in early 2020, I think it was. And then when the pandemic really hit, I was ready to buy another one, like so many people were. And I was like, oh, I should get a Southern Gothic tarot, And so I proceed to Google that and get nothing.
Nothing.
And I was like, come on, there must be. There must be, and I'm like trying all these different versions of that search term. And I mean, seriously, like flat out nothing. And I'm like, well, I guess I know what I'm going to do then. And literally it was maybe 24 hours before I started painting.
Wow.
My husband's like, what are you doing? I was like, making my own tarot deck.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
What?
Ooh, yeah.
But I just was like, this has to exist. How can this not exist?
Yeah.
And that's literally all there is to it. I'm that weird. I'm that impulsive. And that's what happened.
I love that. Well, you're Sagittarius, right?
Correct.
So you see an adventure, you see a slot to fill, you see something that's gonna, and you're like the archer, you're like, and we aim at that.
And
yeah.
But I honestly didn't expect more than 5 people to buy it. And that is the honest to God truth.
Oh, wow.
I thought this was going to be the kind of thing that some of my friends bought to humor me, like they always do. God bless them. And maybe even, like 5 old witches in Alabama. That's what I thought this was going to be. I had no idea what was about to happen. That Kickstarter, you know, there's a pull down you can choose on Kickstarter to choose how many days the campaign will run.
Yeah.
And I'm alone in a quiet moment of contemplation in front of my computer, deciding on that pull down. And it's like 15 days, 30 days, or 45 days, which is the longest you can go.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should definitely go 45 days because fucking nobody is going to support this account. It's going to take me a month and a half to scrape together enough people to feel sorry enough for me to buy this deck. That is the state of mind I'm ashamed to say I went into this Kickstarter with. And it was funded on day one.
Oh my gosh.
Fully funded day one. And
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
What?
Right?
And none of them were my friends. These are total strangers.
You're like, fuck you, friends. No, just kidding.
No, I mean, is it wonderful when your best friend buys? Yeah, of course. But these were strangers.
Yeah.
So validating. It was amazing.
Yeah, well,
and then I just had 44 more days.
Yeah, I know, right? That's amazing. And then you also have the Southern Botanic. Yes. So was that like a sequel, or just like, did that just, you're like, hey, I want to do, what made you want to do that? Are you a botanical type of witchy person? Are you a plant person? Or
I do love plants. I'm no botanist. I am going to be a speaker at Botanica Obscura, and with Kobe, who you've met, and I am just so honored. But I'm only speaking to what I know, which is not so much plants. I dabble with plants, but talking about how plants inspired me to make art, which is fair. But anyway, my son, I have a 25-year-old son, and he used to collect Pokemon cards.
Oh, yes.
And all of them, Dragon Ball Z, all those things.
Oh, yeah.
And so back at, what I mean? Back in the early.
A 14-year-old and a 19-year-old son, both, sons. So we get it.
So he was talking to me when I was doing the Southern Gothic Oracle, when I was planning the Kickstarter, and he was just trying to be relatable. And he's like, you know what you should do, Mom, is expansion packs. And I was like, okay, son, that's not really how divination works. Like,
it might.
Come on. But he was like, Mom, I'm serious. It's such a good idea. And I thought about it. He's like, you're going to think of other Southern things. After this deck is finished, you're going to think of other things. And I was like, oh my God. Like, he's totally right. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I'm totally doing this. So that's why I have the haunts. Do you know about the haunts?
No.
Okay, so the haunts is for shadow work. So it's 9 extra cards that you can add to the deck that are cryptids and ghosts and monsters from the South.
Oh my God. Would you? Yes.
Hang on. So if you've never seen an oracle card with a headless woman on it before, which I bet you haven't. Wait, wrong one. Where'd she go? I had her in my hand. Where is she?
Where'd she go? Where's the headless woman? It's like, did you lose your
There
head?
she is.
There we go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. You can
that's the ghost of Pearl Bryan, who was decapitated by her boyfriend, and the card stands for crimes of passion.
So you can purchase those in addition, or?
Yes. So they're a whole different product, but they shuffle into the Southern Gothic Oracle.
So it just adds on.
This is amazing.
People loved it, and they still love it. And so at the time I thought, well, what else could I do to shuffle into the deck? And one of the things I felt there weren't enough of were plants. So my initial plan was, I'm going to make some, like the magnolia tree and all the symbolism that goes with Spanish moss, magnolia, okra, tomatoes, cotton. Dear God, I could write a whole treatise on cotton, obviously.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I should do one on plants. But the more I got to thinking about it, the more I couldn't narrow it down to just 10 cards or less. There's just too much. And so I ended up making a whole separate deck.
That's so cool.
Very cool.
I love that. And so let me ask you might have said it because I was just getting so excited, and sometimes my brain goes bing, and there's wine involved.
And we're 50. Yeah.
And we're 51, and things happen. But Clink and drink the wine and being 51.
Yes.
And losing track of what you were thinking. But so are you very well versed in tarot, or was this just something that you just wanted to collect and that's why you looked up, there's got to be a Southern
well, like you said, she had understood tarot.
Yeah.
In a cursory level, but hadn't delved into it.
Sorry, you
Right.
you said that, and you know what?
That's
okay.
fine. But I read professionally now.
Oh, well, then there you go. Awesome.
So,
yeah.
And it was funny because I went into Ebo to talk to them about my cards, just a total business transaction. Like, hey, I have these oracle cards. I'm a local. I would love for them to be carried here in Memphis, my hometown, and if you would feel comfortable carrying them. So I had gone in there 1 or 2 times, and then the owner's son came up to me and was like, listen, my mom wants you to be our tarot reader. And I was like, oh, yeah, you don't understand. Like, I'm an illustrator. I make the cards. I make the cards. Yeah. And he's like, my mother is rarely wrong about anything. And I was like,
wow.
I'll try it. But, because I do read for myself, and I did read for friends and family. But my goodness, it's a whole new thing reading for. So I've only been reading for the public for 3 years, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And now, do you just read with your cards? Is that, I mean,
never.
Oh, okay.
I hate reading with my cards.
Really? And why is that?
I mean, I will. In fact, a lady came into the store yesterday. Now I read at 2 stores. So I'm at a store called Paradox now. And a lady came into Paradox yesterday with her Virgin Southern Gothic Oracle deck that still had the band around it.
Yeah.
And she had bought it months ago and was like, I heard you're in Memphis and I wanted you to read my cards. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
So that was cool. And then I autographed it.
Oh, cool.
But typically for a reading, I feel uncomfortable with it for 2 reasons. One, I feel like it sounds like I'm selling it. Like, and on your way out, exit through the gift shop. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's something.
If you enjoyed this reading and like the
artwork, this reading, this is only $54.95. Like, it just seems schlocky, and I don't want to draw attention to the fact that I made the cards, because when the reader is there, they're there about their own lives, and we're talking about their mother, their divorce, their insecurities, and for me to be like, I made this, it's just not the time.
Well, and if someone, I'm sorry, but you're hilarious. I would love for a reader to just be reading and go, oh, by the way, I made this.
I made that. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
That means you're amazing.
I'm sorry, you just reminded me of those shake and bake commercials where they go, shake and bake, and I helped. Sorry.
That's why. And that will always be reason number 1, and that's why.
Yeah.
But reason number 2 is I see things in the cards that are too personal to me. Like the dogwood blossoms, that's my dad.
Oh.
I can't.
So, yeah.
And it blocks anything that I'm getting from, the spirits. I mean, I'm as soon as that dogwood card comes up, every single time, it's my dad. And I'm like, I can't have that in the middle of somebody else's reading. It's too distracting.
There's going to be a relation to that. And, it's kind of the same way that I feel when I do readings for like people I've known for 30 years and they want a reading, like doing readings on my kids. Like I've had my teenage boys go, can you do a reading on me, Mom? And I'm like, okay.
Aww.
And things will come up and I'm going, is that it? I'll finish it for me. Oh, look how nice my husband is. Oh, look at that. Thank you, honey. He gave me the rest of the wine. That's a good man right there. That's
true love, folks.
That's why I married him. Real quick, to those who are watching, when she came into our green room, she got to kind of hear us bickering, and we forgot that
the mic was live.
And
so Stacey stepped in and we're arguing about.
Yeah, but I'm like long-term married, so I was completely like nonplussed.
We were bickering about him drinking too much whiskey last night. That's what. And here I go with the wine. So
here's my not surprised face.
Yeah, exactly.
Clink and drink.
Clink and drink to spirits and spirits. So yeah, it's like when I do readings on my boys and things will come up and there's a part of me as their mother that wants to give them the motherly advice. But if the cards and my intuition as a reader are saying, you know what, it's going to go opposite of what Mom would say, that's really hard for me.
That is super hard.
And it's kind of the same way when I read for people that I've known forever. And there's a part of me that's like, as your friend, I want to tell you this, but the cards, like if the cards are, and so I have to really go, is this me? Or is this the interpretation of whatever is interacting with us, saying, go for it. You know what I mean?
You're so right, Lola. And I've only just come to that epiphany myself, just honestly, within the last couple of weeks. Because I'm finding that I used to have this comfort level with reading the cards for friends and family. Because, you could turn one and I could turn to my friend and be like, oh, devil card. We all know who that is. And then drink.
Right.
And it was just this sort of very comfortable, intimate thing. But now that I am being paid, again, by strangers, sitting down and they walk in and immediately I have to start in on what I believe their issue is and what I believe the root of it is based on what the cards are telling me. It is so much more spot on and clear, and people are regularly telling me how much I've helped them. Whereas my friends are kind of like, that was cool.
I know.
Well, that's fun. Are you hungry? I'm hungry. Let's go. My friends do not. But when I'm reading for the public, like the other day, I read for 6 people straight, and 3 cried. And it's like,
I make
what I mean. I know you've experienced this, I'm sure. So it's like, it's different
like that. But no, it's I always tell people I prefer to read for strangers, and I
prefer to read for strangers. Because when you know your friends, you know too much about them. And you're telling them not what the cards are saying, but what you know.
Yeah, totally.
And then your card's like, oh yeah, and
also like last year here we're in Spokane, Washington. We are the bratty little sister to Seattle, Washington. So if no one's ever heard of Spokane, we always say we are the bratty little sister of Seattle. But we had a Northwest Pagan Fest, which was huge last year. And I was in the divination room for only 2 hours. And I did nonstop readings. I read for like 10, 11, 12, 13 people in a row. And I loved it. Because I don't know these people. And I'm just like, hey, the card. But in between that, sometimes someone would come up that I know. And I'd be like, damn it. I mean, I love you and you're giving me a nice tip, but damn it,
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I love that so I get that you don't use your own cards because you're invested in those emotionally and you don't want that to influence the reading.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and it's work. I do readings on them all the time for social media, for example, because I want to provide instruction on how to use the cards. So I am doing readings either live on my Instagram or I'm doing them again, it's just entirely an intellectual exercise. I do the reading and I'm like, if someone were here, what would I see in these cards? And then I'll photograph it real pretty and I'll put it on Instagram because I want my followers to learn how to use the deck, right? A lot of Oracle users tend to be newer to divination. So educationally, I use them all the time, but not for like a one-to-one reading. Usually.
So this is a good question. Look at me patting myself. I've got a good question for you. Oracle versus, because a lot of people will ask me this. I don't work with a lot of Oracle decks. We own a lot of Oracle decks.
Me neither. Yeah. I
kind of do my own
here's the thing.
with them.
No, it's a good question because I do not love Oracle cards. I don't do any reading with Oracle cards. And no shade to other Oracle artists, but my issue with Oracle cards and a certain publisher that starts with an H is that they look like romance novels. They're basically affirmation cards.
Yes.
It's like
fairies
and strawberries and kittens and handsome men in Renaissance fair costumes and dragons and butterflies.
So,
and
good example of that. I have this goddess guidance oracle cards, which is by someone who has Doreen Virtue. If anyone knows, she's actually gone against her beliefs when she was doing all this. She became a born again Christian and said, all the things I put out are the devil's work. It's really weird. But anyways, but you're absolutely right. An oracle card to me is just, I'll do one card draw, or sometimes I just kind of, I just do whatever feels right. Like I might mix it in with a tarot deck and just say, hey, here's a clarification card, or but a lot of people have asked me that. They're like, what's the difference between the oracle cards and the tarot cards? So I just thought, since you made an oracle deck, but it's more tarot.
It's an artwork deck.
Yeah, here's my Hellhound card.
Oh my gosh.
Just to make sure everybody knows.
I love that.
There are no butterflies in the deck.
I got dust on mine because the dust just went up my nose and I'm gonna sneeze. That's how often.
Well, here's why I went oracle, and I am working on a tarot right now for U.S. Games. So
yeah, we were gonna talk about that. Look at that segue.
Slick.
Yeah.
So I and there's an indie one that I've kind of sort of started on too, but the one for U.S. Games, they like Southern Gothic Oracle, and they were very intrigued by it, and they want also, like I said, from my Google search, I already know this. There isn't a tarot out there that has a really strong. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is the Hoodoo Tarot by Tiana Lee McQuiller, which is wonderful, but it's a very narrow. It is a very specialized. It's not about the South. You know what I mean? It's about the practice of hoodoo. Yeah. So I'm not saying there aren't things with overlaps or from our region. I'm just saying like something that's region-wide type situation. Nobody is doing that. And so U.S. Games, very interested, asked me to do a tarot, and I said yes. So we're working on one. I'm not going to say the title yet because they haven't released it, but it's not Southern Gothic. But it's similar. It's adjacent. Okay. It's Southern Gothic adjacent. But here's the thing: from a creative standpoint, it is so much slower, and it is more like what I'll say working backwards. And the reason I say it's like working backwards is there was something that was just so fun and gratifying and creative about having a completely blank slate and saying, if I were to create a divination system based on all the magic I know about the South, there would definitely be a pair of shoes in the deck. There would definitely be a hellhound. There would definitely be kudzu. There would definitely be this and that. And I wanted them to each be their own card. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I wanted the mojo bag to be its own card. I didn't want to try and force it into being like whatever, the Six of Cups or something. I wanted it to actually be a mojo bag card. So then I was like, well, it's Oracle.
Yeah. And that makes it. So I guess the difference between Oracle and Tarot, from what I'm getting from looking at yours and looking at the ones that I have, I'm sorry, our dog is kind of doped up right now, so she's being kind of weird.
Hey Nelly.
That's Nene. Nene. Yeah, look at your on witches and wine, sweetie.
So much what you're saying with tarot, you already have your major and minor arcanas, so you kind of already have a set already made for you. With an oracle, you have free reign to put whatever you want.
Yeah, and I like that. And you can set, and I've seen people do spreads with oracle cards, because there'll always be like a thing in the back of the book that says do this kind of reading, and which spreads are great, but I kind of like them. Like I said, I like to use them as clarifying cards, and maybe what you need to work with today. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Or like a so what card. I do like to use that when I'm here in Memphis or doing a reading anywhere with a Southern client. Is we'll do a tarot reading, but then sometimes I'll do a so what card, and
what's
then
a so what card?
It's like they've just gotten advice on where they should go with this new job, or they've just gotten advice on something, and then they're just like stunned. Am I really going to stay with this guy? Is he the one? And then I do this whole spread, and then they look at me stunned, like, okay, but should I stay with the guy? You know what I mean? Like, and so sometimes I'll pull out the oracle deck, and I'll be like, would you like to draw a so what card? And then they'll draw the card, and then it'll say something like, I don't know, it'll be, what's an example? The dogwood blossoms. Yeah. Because we were talking about that before. And they have a dogwood tree in their yard or something. Or the boyfriend has a dogwood tree in his yard. And then they're like, oh, I think this means blah, 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 blah. And the nice thing about these cards is that they're ordinary objects from our world down here. And so I don't have to explain what it means or be like, well, the high priestess represents the divine feminine. Like, no, they just draw the dogwood card, and then they can
know.
Get a message instantly that, oh my God.
Yeah. I love that.
It's nice for clarifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I want to talk about another reason why we're here, because you're amazing. And if you want to see if we have viewers, and people watch the recordings, we hope.
Yeah.
We hope. But there is this wonderful Magic Fest. It's the Summer Magick Fest. And that's in Orlando, Florida. I'm going to put the website right here. And this is kind of how we got connected. So Trish, who is part of one of the creators of the Summer Magick Fest, is someone that I met through the Aquarian Tabernacle Church and through the school. And I love her and she's amazing. And so she came up with this idea of promoting the people that are going to be speaking at this Magic Fest. So it's a win-win. I mean, it promotes the Magic Fest. It helps us get guests for Witches and Wine. So I'm going to bring the ladies that call themselves the Triple Butterflies, right? Mm-hmm. Look at me looking at the Gemini as the Capricorn. I've had wine. I'm telling you.
So
yes.
The Gemini's had wine, but not whiskey like you did last night.
No.
Right?
I was drinking 10-year bourbons last night, making old fashions with them, and they were delicious. And
I love an old fashioned. That's
I made that a little more intoxicated than I generally do.
I love an old fashioned.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch. So I'm gonna bring these three ladies. We're gonna bring Trisha and Bobby Joe, and then Raina. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Welcome. And Trish,
Hi.
You're drinking wine tonight. Do you want to tell us what wine you're drinking?
Oh my gosh, Apothic Red.
Apothic Red. There you go.
It doesn't get any witchier than that. That is every witch's favorite wine.
No. That's right.
There's the Witching Hour.
Witching Hour.
Oh, then there's that.
Yeah. Similar profile to Apothic Red, but much smaller runs.
Yeah.
Eric had Witching Hour. My partner had it when we did his second degree, right, Bobby Joe? He had the Witching Hour and the picture.
Yeah,
that is actually our ritual wine for our coven.
Our coven uses Witching Hour for our ritual wine. It's just ritual wine. I've had wine. All right. Hi, ladies. We're going to talk about Summer Magick Fest. So real quick, Stacey, what are you going to be presenting at Summer Magick Fest? Clink and drink. My God. Summer Magick Fest.
I'm probably just going to stand up there and try and be funny. I don't know.
You do that well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'll be great.
She's doing amazing workshops. Yes.
I am doing workshops on creativity. And specifically, for those folks in the audience who want to make their own Oracle deck, who want to go indie. But I like to do the presentation in a way that it's not just some dry, how to make an Oracle card kind of presentation, because I see those at other conferences and I think they're a little too narrow. I'd rather, having been a design instructor, I'd rather get up there and just talk to people about how to just get it done and how to get rid of the self-doubt. And then we can get into brass tacks and workshops for people who really do want to make Oracle cards.
That's really awesome. And you're going to be doing this at Summer Magick Fest. And ladies, what is Summer Magick Fest? Can you tell us about it?
Trisha, go ahead.
Trisha.
Trisha.
Right, Trisha.
We never call you Trisha. We call you Trish. It's like you're in trouble. Trisha.
Summer Magick Fest is a hotel event that we're having in June in Florida. We have this gorgeous hotel with this huge, beautiful atrium area, and there's pool, and we're a mile from the airport, so y'all can just fly in and get a free shuttle to the airport. And then we're also Disney, so if you're into that kind of thing, you can hit those up. I know when Bella came, I think they went to SeaWorld or Magic Kingdom, one of those places.
Yeah.
But anyway, the three of us, the Triple Butterflies, we all run individual festivals in Florida. Raina being in Miami, South Florida. Bobby Joe has the Central State, and I have Northeast Florida. So we met doing this work, and we decided, hey, let's get together and do a hotel event. So last year was our inaugural year, and so we're doing year 2 this time. We're having some of our really cool presenters come back, like Ivo Dominguez and Nisha Matthews. But we've reached out to Stacey and Kobe, and we got Alex Cabot coming, and we have Alexi and SJ Tucker.
Yeah.
We have such a freaking fabulous event. And what's good about this is we're inside, air conditioned, and there's a lot of catered food. Like our meet and greet is going to be this catered event in the atrium, which is absolutely gorgeous. Alexian will be doing that concert there, and then Stacey will be doing 2 or 3 workshops, and I'm so excited. I have your poison pack.
Oh yeah,
I do.
A poison pack. Wait, what is this poison?
Yeah.
pack?
So I told you about Southern Gothic, right? Well,
Yeah.
the shadow work expansion pack for that is poison plants.
Oh.
It's for
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I love poison plants. Anyway, we are Orlando, Florida. I need the dates. I'm trying to get to the website to tell you. I don't know.
June 8th through 11.
There you go. June 8th through 11th. And you can go to summermagickfest.org.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been going to your website because I'm finding out wonderful things about your guests. And it's a wonderful website. It's very well put together and professional, and I like it. It's easy to navigate. Just saying.
That's Bobby Joe's son.
My son.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Does our website.
It's always good to have IT involved, someone with some IT web experience. So,
You know what?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just think it's crazy because like Raina's got 2 sons, Bobby Joe's got 6, I've got 4, you have 2. Stacey, how many boys do you have?
I have one of each. I have a boy and a girl.
Oh my God.
Well, I have a man and a woman now. They're grown up.
Yes.
Yeah. We have a lot of boys. There's a lot of God energy going on.
Yeah.
You like
God
that?
Almighty.
Yeah, God Almighty. So real quick, we've got a few minutes left. Let's talk about the importance of, or the
value
of
the value of being able to go to a hotel festival,
yes,
compared to out in the middle of nowhere festival.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, though, I will tell you the hotel that we have in Orlando has very graciously given us room rates that for the Orlando area in June are off the chain.
Good.
Wow.
Yes, our room rates are $139 a night for the event, which for Orlando is miraculous.
Well, yeah, because that is peak season. June is peak season, vacation season.
Wow.
Kids are out of school. All those amusement parks and everything are packed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the truth. Yeah,
That's because Yankees don't know how hot it gets in Florida in June.
Yes.
Correct.
So
They
going
don't
to a
realize it
festival.
until they're passing out at Universal.
Well,
Come
so
on.
I went to Tennessee.
I love how Trish is like, it's air conditioned. And my little Southern heart was like, yeah.
When I went to visit Tennessee, it was in May. It wasn't quite hot, but it was still hot and humid. And I remember I would send pictures to my husband.
Every day her hair was bigger.
My hair got bigger.
Every single day her hair was bigger. And by the time she got back, I thought we were back in the 80s.
It's true. The hair definitely changes when you go west.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
It's weird. I kept taking pictures of me
100%.
in the mirror because it would just get bigger and bigger. All that humidity just made my hair so big. I was like, this is weird, but whatever.
It's so true.
The bigger
Yeah.
the hair, the closer to God.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
But to answer your question about hotel events, they're like Evo was saying, I love it. He's such an amazing man. He's like, they're so important for people because I've been noticing in my community, we're getting older and older and older. We don't tent camp anymore. I mean, most people come in RVs now, which is like a whole other issue. But so hotel events are handicapped accessible, people who have mobility issues, and also there's a lot of pagans who want their hair dryers and they want their hot showers every night. They don't want to be like bug bit and
Yeah.
sticky. it's just
I don't like to sweat anymore. You know.
Well,
everyone's not a hedge witch. Like
we're nature lovers, but we also still like our luxuries.
Comforts,
Because
Comfort.
you know what I mean? Like if you can have a spiritual experience and take a nice shower by yourself and have a nap.
You gotta have someone in there with you.
Yeah.
Well, we still are pagans. We're still a fertility religion.
Trish, I'm always good for a shower.
Yes.
fertility religion.
So also we have Mount Olympus at our event. So we have this thing. It's an add-on to the tickets. It's a golden ticket. And what you do is if you purchase that add-on, you get to go have lunch. Every lunch is catered up in the Mount Olympus, where you get to sit with the headliners who are there. And of course, us, because we got to get fed. But yeah, the golden ticket, you get access to that and also a little goodie bag that's like a big goodie bag. Last event was huge beach towels and sunscreen and stickers, and it's just and Evo's book and some CDs from one of the bands that was playing. So yeah, the Golden Pass upgrade is worth it. It's
awesome.
Fun. Yeah, it's
fun. I love you ladies. It's so awesome that we are making connections, because I'm really big about we need to network. We need to connect, grow the community, because we are global. Like, we are out there and we need to help each other, and I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back kind of thing. And I love this. So, before we go, is there anything else that, Stacey, you said, you were working on something recent? Is everything that we can find that you are doing, it's on your website right now?
It's not on the Southern Gothic Oracle website, because that's just for that one product. But I do have an Instagram, which is my name, Stacey Williams-Ng. I also have I have a studio called La Panthère Studio, which is like French for the panther. So it's just panther with an E at the end. But La Panthère Studio, if you look that up on Instagram, you'll see that I help other makers make indie decks as well. And we're launching a Kickstarter next week for an Oracle deck that I painted. It's a new one from me that's called Roses, Dust, and Ashes. And it's based on Victorian cemetery symbolism.
Oh my God. Yes.
So cool.
Oh my God. And I'm going to put this banner up. What is that called?
See, it looks like this. I have some sample cards from the printer. They have these fabulous little skulls on the back.
Stacey, there's no Scorpio in your sign? Nothing. You're just like, you're so.
That's very.
I'm kind of a cusp Scorpio, but I'm Sagittarius all the way, babe.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Your ideas.
But yeah, this is Roses, Dust, and Ashes, and it's going to be in a coffin-shaped box. I'm super stoked.
Oh my God.
Yeah, can you show that? Is that okay that you show that?
I don't have the coffin-shaped box that like the first edition will come in, but I do have this. Check this out. So for the Kickstarter, there's going to be like, you guys have been on Kickstarter. You know how people do like the premiere artist edition, tier.
Oh, cool.
Right.
So you'll be able, if you go top tier, you get an actual wooden coffin to hold your cards because it's ridiculous and awesome.
I love it.
And then, you open it up and it's lined in satin.
Wow.
And then the cards are laid to rest. Everyone will think you have a dead canary, but actually.
Well, I want to put this. How do you spell that? La Panthère.
It's La L-A, and then Panther with an E at the end. La Panthère. P-A-N-T-H-E-R-E.
Right, that?
It's in the chat. If that helps.
On Instagram.
Yeah, if you go to Instagram and just type in La Panthère Studio.
There you go, La Panthère. Well, I had to make sure. Got to use my scrolling banner thing because everything. I mean, you could burp and I'll be like, Trish burped and run it across. I don't know.
I love it.
One earlier?
What?
Trish burped.
Trish burped.
I did not.
Trish burped. Okay, now we're just getting ridiculous. Now this is what happens.
Savagery. Savagery.
Here
Yeah.
we go. Ready? And Trish burped.
All right.
We went there.
She went there. She went there.
We went there. We went there. Oh, well, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, Stacey, you're amazing. You're so funny. You
Yes.
should stand up. You're hilarious.
Thank you.
Like, yeah, I love you. This was wonderful. And thank you, ladies, the triple butterflies, for flittering and flitting into our conversation. I loved it.
Yeah.
So everyone, if for our viewers, if you are ever interested in what we do as a coven, if you are ever like, hey, I want to be a guest on their show, or hey, what's wrong with you people? You can email us at
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That's crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
So remember, always be very, very kind to one another and walk with the goddess. And until next time, blessed be. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.